Hey guys, it's your girl Tower Crush back with another review, and this time it is for the Haves and the Have Nots series. If you haven't already, please hit my subscribe button. Thank you. Okay, and I do want to thank the ones that have been subscribing without me actually uploading much content. A lot of my shows are on hiatus right now, and I am watching um, a couple of shows that I haven't done reviews for. The Handmaid's Tale is one that I'm trying to get caught up on. I probably would do one review for the second, third, and fourth seasons, whichever seasons leading up to the current season. Because nobody really watched the first one, and these things take time. So, that's that on that. So, I will probably in the next week or so give you all the Handmaid's Tale update, and then I'll be doing episode by episode of the current season of Handmaid's Tales. It's very interesting. Very interesting show. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so Haves and Have Nots are one of my favorite Tyler Perry shows. Not the favorite, but one of the favorites. Um, and it's going to be kind of difficult to go through everything that has happened through the series. I'm just going to touch on a lot of it, um, character by character. So Jim Cryer is one of the leads in the show, and he's a judge. He has a wife, he has a son and a daughter. His daughter is kind of, she's a little off, not totally off, but a little off. His son is a junkie. His wife is, she comes from money and she's pretty cutthroat. Catherine Cryer is her name. So Jim is a whore. He definitely loves women, especially black women. And he's carried on an affair with his house, with his housekeeper, has kids with her. Candace is his daughter's classmate, but he also had an affair with her because he met her on a website, on one of those dating sites, like she's a cowgirl, kind of like, or whatever. So she realizes that Amanda is his child and says, okay, yeah, I need to get in that house because I can definitely blackmail him. So we see right away that Candace is introduced, and she doesn't care that his wife is in the house. She definitely goes in to seduce him within the house when everybody's there, and he likes the thrill of it. It's not like his wife doesn't know he's a whore. So there's that. Um, we also have, in the beginning, we have Hannah. Hannah is actually Candace's mother. We don't know that initially, but Hannah's there trying to pick up a job as a housekeeper as well, because she pretty much cleans for well-to-do people. And Candace kind of looks down on her, but she looks down on Candace because Candace is a scammer. So Hannah's there, and Catherine's interviewing her, and basically tries to get her to divulge information from her last employer, and she wouldn't do it. She said, I think this is the wrong job for me, but you have a good day, which was just a test, and she passed it. So that's how Hannah got hired. And then when she sees Candace, she gets nervous because she don't know what she's doing there, and she don't want her to be trying to blackmail these good people or whatever, who's about to be signing her paychecks. Um, and so we see right away that Candace did actually tell Jim that she wanted $100,000 in a sports car, and that was, her first blackmail scheme was to have him, give her that, and he did make sure that she got it, but he was very cunning about it. So I'll tell you how that all went. But going forward, we got Candace is like the main character in the whole show. Everything kind of centers around her, um, her brother Benny, um, and Candace she's a very beautiful, beautiful young woman. She's in law school, and she's just this close to actually graduating. And we learned that in the first season. That's where her niche is law, and she's very good. Like I said, very intelligent. Hannah, again, is her mother. She's a housekeeper. She's a Bible thumper. You don't see her go to church much, but she is a Bible thumper, and she does preach the Bible all the time, and she uses the Bible to justify being mean to her child all the time, because I really don't like the dynamic between Hannah and Candace. It's pretty gross, and it's indicative of a lot of relationships that I've seen amongst black women and their mothers in those age ranges. Um, it seems like Hannah's the type of person that is just like addicted to being poor. That's like her character. It's like if somebody comes and tries to bless her with something, she denies it. I would rather work for it. Well, how do you believe so much in the Bible, but you don't believe in miracles? You don't believe that Jesus would actually send somebody to give you a blessing since you have been his humble servant? I mean, I don't understand the writing. It just doesn't make sense, because there are several times throughout the series that she is offered a blessing and she kind of denies it. So I don't really get where she's coming from. And it seems like she's mad at Candace for actually taking the taking what she wants, and actually trying to live a better life. So I don't really fully understand that dynamic, and I'm hoping that it can all come out in the last season. But we do learn some more things about, why she may feel the way she feels about Candace. We do learn a little bit about that, and I will tell you about that a little later. I want to get into David and Veronica Harrington. David is Jim's close friend. He is also a judge. Veronica is the best defense attorney in the state. So David is kind of like Jim's fixer. So if Jim does something, then David cleans it up. So when Candace demands this sports car and this $100,000, Jim passes it off to David to actually get it for her. Now, mind you, David is moving around trying to make this happen, and his wife is noticing that he's moving funny. So she hires a private investigator to actually follow him, and that investigator sees him give Candace the car and the money. So she's like, what in the world what is he up to? So she's just really not trusting him at all. So we see that. And then let's see, they have a son, Jeffrey. Jeffrey is gay, and Veronica does not want to accept it. David does not have a problem with it, but Veronica not only doesn't want to accept it, she's concoct so many ways of trying to trick this boy into being straight. She found a woman, made him have sex with her, basically made her rape him, so that she could get pregnant. She wanted a grandchild and all of this stuff. So Veronica is 10 karat crazy. She basically, on the surface, she looks like she's a devoted wife, but really underneath, she screws just about all of her clients. And then, when she gets them off, she basically makes them promise her favors, and she calls them all in. It's kind of disgusting, actually. But, she does what she does, and she gets her way. I ain't mad at her, because I don't always get my way, and maybe I need to learn something from Veronica Harrington. And let's see, Jim is actually, he's the judge, but he's actually running for governor. And David is his running mate. And their campaign manager is Maggie Day. Maggie Day is, blonde hair, brown eyed, I think. And she just loves David. Like, she just loves her some David. And she just loves her some David. And she really, really loves her some David. So she's trying to get David the best way she can. She does not like the way Veronica treats him. She's not afraid of Veronica. And she pretty much lets it be known that she wants to replace Veronica. You don't have to go through that. You deserve so much better. And, David is a man of principle, though, so he couldn't do it. He was like, no, I love my wife, and I'm not doing that. So that's their dynamic. Now, circling back, Candace actually, Candace, and she's like, she excels in school, but Amanda not so much. She's not as smart as Candace is. And so Candace has a lot easier time getting things done. Well, Amanda fails a test, and Candace basically tells her, you just need to go and seduce your teacher. Make him, put on something sexy, show your cleavage, let him know that you were just like a retake. And she did exactly that. She was able to do her retake, and she actually passed the test. But then the teacher shows up at her door and realizes that she's roommates with Candace. After he realized that, now mind you, he had already been with Candace as well off of the website, so he figured that Amanda was the same way since they was roommates. Yep, broke in that room and raped that girl, and she was a virgin. Yes, she was, and so of course that really set her off her rocker. She started stalking him. Eventually, she one day, one night he woke up and she was in his room with a gun to his head while his wife was sleeping right next to him. She didn't give a damn. She was angry. So, she eventually stabs him, I believe, but he didn't die. And, literally goes crazy. And then she starts looking at her family like she wants to kill them because it's just so much. Like, she finds out that she has an inheritance that her parents have been keeping from her. Candace tries to help her get it because she wants it. So she tries to help her get it, using her legal skills to do so. And turns out Amanda gets pregnant by the teacher. She took a pregnancy test and it was on the sink. So she's really going crazy now because she's pregnant and she don't know what to do. She was a virgin, So Candace and Jim get into a little scuffle, and while they scuffle, he sees the pregnancy test and assumes that it is Candace's and assumes that it is his baby. So now she's, really gonna extort him. And so, but she's actually not really extorting him yet. He decides that he doesn't, well, she tries to get him to buy her an apartment, give her money for the kid to go to school or whatever. She wanted the apartment in another state, she just wanted out of Savannah. So so what he did instead of doing that is he called that mean crazy lady. I can't think of her name right now. He called in a favor, and asked her, had her to kidnap Candace. They were gonna give Candace a back alley abortion, basically. And Candace had to convince them that she wasn't pregnant. They took like 100 damn pregnancy tests and then settled on the fact that she wasn't pregnant. And he came along, and while she was still tied up or whatever, and realizing that she wasn't pregnant the whole time, it's like, you are something else. So he had paperwork in his hand. He made her sign back over the car. He made her sign paperwork because she had busted in one of his campaign stops and made a scene. Sign an affidavit saying that she was obsessed with him and that nothing had happened between the two of them. He had her sign a lot of things. And, then told them to kill her. So they took her to back in the woods somewhere and shot a gun by her ear, made her think she was dead, but she wasn't. And so she went directly to, get her revenge on him with her childhood friend, War. War actually likes Candace or whatever, but she's not really looking at him like that. But she calls him and has him get his boys, and they kidnap Jim. But she lies to him about how much money he owes her. She basically extorts $7.4 million from Jim and I believe she told War it was $400,000 or some small number. And he gave him $150,000. And he was cool with that until he found out through Benny that she got millions. And so then, without telling Benny, War basically he's ready to, he puts the hammer down on Candace, like, how you gonna lie to me? I feel like you crossed me. She's like, but don't nobody know but me and you. And he was like, it don't matter. It don't matter. So he's basically extorting her for like $2 million because she told him she had $4 million. So he wants $2 million of it. And so she actually gets it to him, but Mitch, who is a family friend of Benny's and has the hugest crush on Candace, they actually used to date. Mitch doesn't like War at all and knows War was up to no good. So Mitch actually had some stuff put in the back of War's car and had the police pull him over, at which time they took the drugs and the money. So War's thinking that Candace did it. Candace didn't do it. Why would Candace basically have her money giving it to you, and then all of a sudden it's in the police, locker room. I mean, evidence room. What does she have to gain? I could see if it was before she gave you the money, she had you knocked, but no, it was after she gave you the money and the money got seized. So no, War. I mean, it's not your fault, War. Tyler Perry wrote this, but I'm just saying. Um, so long story short, um, she got the money and she immediately bought Beanie a tow yard, and she bought two houses, one for her and one for Benny. She didn't really want Hannah staying in the house because, again, her and Hannah don't get along. Hannah had her child, and then she took the child back, and the child was basically kidnapped by his father, and as far as Candace knows, murdered. So Hannah's just not gonna forgive Candace for taking her grandbaby away. And so every time they get into it, and Hannah and Candace needs something, Hannah's like, "Where's my grandbaby? Tell me where my grandbaby is, little girl. Little girl, little girl." Oh, I hate the way she says that. I don't even like people that say little girl. Like, it don't even be that many people say it, but I guess Tyler Perry knows a lot of people because he had us say that a lot in this show. So David, let's see. Now, Jeffrey, that's David and Veronica's son, he's in love with Wyatt. Wyatt's a junkie. Jeffrey. Yeah, Jeffrey's in love with Wyatt. And Jeffrey is also his counselor. His mother has a counseling facility, like a rehab facility. And he counsels him. But, Wyatt's ex-girlfriend tries to come around, and Jeffrey absolutely sabotages her because he don't want her around him. He tells her that she's, a danger to Wyatt's sobriety, when actually she was helping his sobriety because he cared very much for her and he had her there. So that wasn't nothing but a setback. I made notes to make sure I kind of covered what I needed to cover. Oh, I also need to say that Candace's child's father, Quincy, does come back. He basically gets out. How does he get out? Because Veronica got him out. He was on death row. But she got him out because she wanted him to kill Candace. Because Candace had everything to do with him going to jail. And she felt like Candace was becoming a problem in their circle. So she would just rather just eliminate Candace. And so, turns out, when he goes to kill Candace, Candace fights back. Jeffrey helps her, and Jeffrey kills Quincy. So Veronica basically put her son in a position to murder somebody because he did. And nobody even knew Quincy would be out. Wasn't supposed to be out. So while Candace is fighting, trying to get this money for war and everything, she's also fighting her child's father, trying to keep him from killing her because he said that he would. Mind you, when he already said that he killed her son. And in the beginning, I forgot to tell y'all that Benny, her brother, had taken a mortgage out on his mother's house for Candace because Candace had to give her child's father $50,000, and he also beat her almost beyond recognition. So Benny didn't want him to. He didn't know what it was for, but he found out later what it was for. But yeah, so her mother was mad that he took the mortgage out, but she didn't know what it was all about, nor did she care, because again, her mother's evil. Okay, so I want to make sure I cover most of it. Now, mind you, Benny eventually beat up Quincy and took his ID and figured out where his nephew was, and went and got his nephew and took him back to his mama, who eventually asked for custody from the state. We'll get to that. So okay, so mind you, Veronica was doing the most with Jeffrey, trying to make him be straight, and David wasn't feeling it. So David had Maggie Day, basically Maggie Day made her room next to his in the hotel because he left the house. He was like, "I'm leaving. Until you get it together, I'm leaving." And, he went over there. Maggie Day left the door open for him in case he wanted to come over and get some of that pink meat. And he went over there. They made out, but he changed his mind about having sex with her. Mind you, he had been trying to call Veronica. She wouldn't answer the phone. When she finally, but then she called him. He didn't answer, and her intuition told her something was up. So she went to the hotel, found her way inside the room. When he came to come out of Maggie's room, he saw his wife sitting on the bed. It was on. She beat Maggie's butt. Smack, 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 smack. And Maggie took it because she knew she was wrong. And it didn't help their situation at all because she, at that point, felt like he cheated on her. And so she eventually had sex with Hannah's son, Benny. Young, sexy stud. Yeah, she did. She did it. And like I said, Candace, got her revenge on Jim by having him kidnapped and making him sign all that money over. So now he's working trying to get the money, and he asked David to help him. David hires this guy named what is his damn Oscar. To basically mark Candace and get Candace's money back, and he did so with the fake child services person. He basically came in and swooned the heck out of Candace, made her think that he was super rich, that he had a private jet and everything. Whole time he's using her money to do all these things because he can, and he's basically planning a life with her. And she's like, wow, I've never, been in love, but she's really falling for this dude. And so when child services comes to check out her house, because her mother said that she didn't have no house and all of this stuff, she comes to check out the house, and she was like, well, what about money? What are you going to do for money? You don't have a job. And so basically he was like, well, I will wire $500,000 into her account right now. And he was like, put your information right here, babe. And she does it, and he sends her the money. And, the child protective services lady was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and let the courts know that you are fit and whatever. She leaves, and this boy done decided that he was going to sleep with her one more time, and then he got up through. And when he got up through, he wired that money back to his account and everything that she had in her account to his account. Now, why she would have millions of dollars sitting in one account, I don't know, because the FDIC don't do number. They don't do number, insure $100,000. So why would you put millions in one account? But that ain't none of my business. And that's how she got. So she's angry. So now she's out for blood for Oscar and for Jim. And she ain't gonna stop until she get it. So, so let's see. So we do know that Amanda did eventually kill herself at the end of the first season. We didn't know that until the second season because we just heard the gun finally go off at the very end. And so she killed herself, which sends everybody crazy because Wyatt walked in and saw it. Crazy. He wasn't able to deal with it. Lost it again. Benny beats up Quincy and again gets his nephew. Let's see. Jim got so Wyatt gets locked up because basically he done got high in Jeffrey's car and crashed it and hit a little girl and hit Benny. And he goes to jail because, they ID'd him. Well, Jim wanted him to go to jail so he could learn a lesson, but Jim made it to where he would be protected. Veronica found out about it and said, nah, he don't need no protection. He need to learn. So she put him in there with a convicted rapist, and he raped the hell out of Wyatt. And Jim found out about it, so now he wanted Veronica dead. And, David's like, hold on, don't kill my wife. If anything happens to my wife, I am going to unleash an enemy like you have never seen. He said that like 50 times in the season, so I think he meant it. An enemy like you have never seen, don't do it. So he calls off the hit, but Veronica, with her cunning ass, she takes the opportunity to ask Maggie to come over, and she sets up her own hit. Basically, when Maggie goes in the house, she gets bombarded by shooters, and they kill her ass. So Veronica got rid of her, and made it look like it was it was Jim's hit. So so I told y'all that Quincy wound up dying at the hands of Jeffrey. Now, mind you, The second season opened and I almost quit. Candace wouldn't let Jeffrey call the police. Jeffrey wanted to call the police because he felt like it was self-defense. Candace convinced him that it wasn't. The lady across the street from Candace, who's always meddling, we'll call her Karen, calls her son because she realizes that, they buried him in the backyard, but she realizes that he never came back out of the house. She said it was 3 of them in there and only 2 of them came out. That other one never came out. And so she told her son about it. Son winds up being down low, meets Jeffrey, sexually assaults him in the back of a police car. And then they wind up having some type of crazy toxic relationship where, Justin didn't want to admit that he was gay, but he was doing all kind of gay stuff with Jeffrey. And he's like, no, you make me this way. No, you was already like this because you assaulted me in the back of the doggone police cruiser. So don't go there with me. So, nothing really happens with that relationship. It remains toxic. He remains, abusive towards Jeffrey. Jeffrey continues to act like he doesn't know what to do. And then Jeffrey gets mad and tells him to get away, but then he winds up letting him come back. Nothing really happens. Erica is introduced. Basically, Candace puts Erica on David because she wants her to take David's money because she knows what part he played in putting Oscar in her life. She finally gets a chance to get back at Oscar. Oscar wants her to team up with him, though. Because he comes back in the picture after he teased her about taking all the money and how easy it was. He asks her to help him take down the future president. And, she meets him. They kick it off. But she didn't really want no parts of partnership with Oscar. She wanted her motherfucking money back. And eventually winds up pushing him out of a hotel window and to his death. So, that happened. So, Oscar's done. And then, she lied to War about the amount. He finds out she lied again while he's in jail with Jim. Jim tells him that now it was $7.4 million, so he can't wait to get out. And she basically had already done a favor for the mob boss, the female mob boss. I can't think of her name. I do apologize, guys. Ma something. But she had done them a favor and called it in basically to get rid of War. She knew that Erica was setting her up with War, and Erica invited her to dinner, and she knew it was a setup for War to come and kill her. But she had her own killers set up, to take War out, and did. So, let's see. We have the future president, because he does make it to presidency. I'm going to try to speed this thing up. The future president really digs Candace, and tries his best to, basically scrub her record, everything bad that could be found. But somebody within the camp actually did not want Candace around the president, and actually had that, had stuff resurface, which it looked like she was going to be with him, and then all of a sudden he's putting her out, through the trunk of a car. And Alex, is that his name? I can't remember the president's assistant's name, but he basically knew that him and Candace had something really special. Even though he didn't initially approve, he saw that she made him happy, and he wanted to do everything in his power to make him happy because he had fallen in love with him. Now, mind you, him and Jeffrey had sex one time, and Jeffrey didn't really like it. Said it wasn't good, but, he's just throwing himself at everybody ever since then. Let's see. Veronica, still 10 karat crazy. She done found out that Jeffrey killed Quincy. Is basically blackmailing him to stay away from Justin because she keep finding them together. And, basically she done went into the Justin's wife, who's a judge, went into her courtroom and basically played a tape that she had of Justin and Jeffrey together. Cunning bitch is what she is, a cunning bitch. Okay, so Wyatt winds up getting off on his drunk driving charge, but he decides to turn in his parents and everybody because he hates them and he wants them to go to jail. And yeah, I'm gonna have to make a part two. Part two coming back. Peace.